We have a very special episode today of Sara's Explain It All, talking about an issue that is really important to us personally, but also so many Americans and families, and that's the topic of fertility. So my very good friend, Representative Sara Jacobs from California, and I have a lot in common. She was actually the first Sara ever elected to Congress. Right. We have that in common. We're similar ages. I just turned 37. You are
36.
36. And we both serve on the House Armed Services Committee, which is really important to this conversation. So, Sara, you just talked to the New York Times about something that's really important to you personally, but again, so important to so many families and service members, and that's the issue of access to IVF. Can you talk a little bit about what inspired your work, not just this year, but you've been working on this for years?
Yeah, absolutely. So over August district work period, I froze my eggs. This is the second time I've done it. I actually did some egg freezing my first year in Congress when I was 32. And after that time, when I talked about it publicly, I'd actually I was doing a roundtable with a couple of service members, and this young servicewoman came up to me and she was like, I wish I could do that. But it's just not attainable for me. And that's when I really started working on this issue to make sure that that everyone has access to the fertility treatments that they need, but as a start to get our military service members to have access to the fertility treatments that they need. So we've been working on this for about 5 years now. We were able this year in the National Defense Authorization Act to get a provision in that would have TRICARE, which is the military insurance program, cover fertility treatments, the full range of fertility treatments for service members. So we're super excited about that, but we've gotten this close before, and Mike Johnson took it out at the end because he's Mike Johnson. And so we're not resting until it actually becomes law. And so I'm so grateful to you for your partnership on this and for everyone who has shared their stories about why this is so important for military families.
Well, it's such a pivotal time. I think we're finally talking about this issue more publicly, like at our homes, but also in Congress. And I think that's a reflection of more young people, more young women, more young parents who are going through this struggle, being in Congress, having these conversations. As part of my first year on the Armed Services Committee, we're doing a installation tour in Maryland, and we were just at Walter Reed 2 weeks ago, and they have a beautiful fertility clinic. But to hear from the doctors there about how strict access to IVF actually is for our service members. I mean, right now it's like only three ways that you can get it. It's cancer, it's a couple of other things.
Yeah, you have to prove a service connection to your infertility, which is really, really hard to do. So it's basically like if your parts get blown up while you're on deployment, you get it. But otherwise, it's like really hard to do.
Right. And it's just heartbreaking for the people who are serving this country, who were asking to go off on tour, to go off
during their prime reproductive years.
Right. Leaving their families behind and not having that ability to plan their families is, I mean, I started crying on that tour. I mean, it's just so heartbreaking. So, and it's also something the president made a kind of keystone of his election, and yet we've seen no progress from the White House on this. So I'm so grateful that you and Senator Duckworth in the Senate have been championing this for years. Anything we could ask folks at home to do to help us out here?
Yeah, absolutely. If you are a military family or you know people who are, sharing their stories about how they were able to access fertility treatments and build their family, or if they weren't, why it was so important, is really, really helpful, because these personal stories are really what move our colleagues. Like, we can give them all the statistics we want, but it's actually these real human stories that get our colleagues to understand how important this is. So please, please share your story and share this video with your friends.
Right. And I would suggest this is a retention issue for our military 100%. Members. So it's a readiness issue. It's a national security issue.
Well, think about it. We invest millions of dollars in our service members. And then we tell them either you have to, if you're having fertility challenges, which 1 in 4 military families have, higher than the average. And again, it makes sense. We're asking them to do dangerous things in their prime reproductive years. You basically have 3 choices, right? Shell out tens of thousands of dollars, which our service members cannot afford. Quit the military to get private insurance that will cover this, or forego having a family. And none of those are good options.
No, unacceptable. And we're actually voting on the NDAA this week in the House, but there's still time as it moves through the Senate, goes to conference, comes back. And so please lean in, engage, participate with your members of Congress and talk about why this is so important to you at home too. Thank you so much for your leadership on this.
Thank you.